So we have already started using the formatting system to customize the output as per our needs. Now still we have certain problems with the output, that when you are using the formatting but still you are not able to decide which items you want to see in the output and which items you don't want to see in the output. For example, in the previous examples we have seen, suppose get hyphen process. Here we were specifying A star to see only those processes where the name begins with A. But now if I want only those processes where the CPU is greater than say 100 seconds, you cannot give 100 plus, something like this. How will it understand what you want, what you're looking for? You're looking for the values where CPU is greater than 100. So there you need to specify from which property and what criteria. You have to compare the values from the properties, like every value from the CPU property you want to compare and see which values are greater than a given number. So in our example it is 100 we are assuming. Suppose you want all the CPUs or all the processes where CPU time is greater than 500 or whatever number you want. So how to filter the output? For filtering the output, you need to first understand the comparison operators. So first we will see what are the comparison operators available in PowerShell, and using those comparison operators, why you should filter the output or how you should filter the output. Now next is why you should filter on the left hand side. This is opposite to formatting. Formatting is done on the right hand side and filtering should be done on the left hand side. You cannot do it on the extreme left because there has to be some command on the left hand side. The output of that command you will filter. So this is going to be at least the second command in the pipeline. Any other commands should come after filtering commands, and this is not a rule. Earlier it was a rule. This is a recommendation for better performance. Okay, now first we will take a look at all the comparison operators. For that we will take a look at help about underscore comparison operators in a new window. So in PowerShell, these are the comparison operators which are available, out of which this replace is not a comparison operator, it is a string manipulation operator. We will see these operators, and very easy to understand. All these operators are very easy. Like you want to check whether 10 is equal to 10, will return true, obviously. This operator can work on a number and string also, like happy is equal to happy. Now notice here H is capital, here H is small, it doesn't matter. PowerShell is not by default case sensitive. But if you want to make it case sensitive, you have to put a C in front of equal to, which is not mentioned here. In this list, it is not mentioned. But any operator you are using with a string, you use C in front of it and it will make it case sensitive. Now case sensitively these two strings are not equal. These strings will be equal if you use the same case. Opposite of EQ is not EQ. Any, not equal to. Then comes greater than or equal to. Now this greater than or equal to is an operator which works for numbers, obviously. 10 is greater than or equal to 15. This is false. But instead of greater than or equal to, if you use less than or equal to, This will return true, LE. Now these comparison operators, when you are using it with numbers, you can put multiple values on the left hand side like 12, 16, 26, 78, 45, 36, and here you put which are the values which are greater than or equal to 26. So only one value was less than or equal to 26, that is 12. Rest everything is given here. Similarly, if you change it to less than or equal to, it will return only two values. Then comes like. These are all self-explanatory. Equal to, not equal to, greater than equal to, less than equal to. Then comes like. Like is used for wildcard search. Google is like star asterisk will be used for representing multiple characters. So what we are asking here to PowerShell is, if this text begins with anything, has these two characters G and L within it, and it might end with anything else. So this is true. Similarly, if you add a few more characters, so is this text begins with anything but has OGL within it and ends with anything else. This is also true. But there is a single character representation that is called question mark. This question mark can be any single character. This is true. And instead of Google, if you put any other character there, like Google or Toogle, anything, that will still work. But this represent one single character that can be anything. If I change this to question mark OGLE, this will return false because this question mark cannot accommodate these two characters. These four characters are matching, but these two characters cannot fit in one single question mark. These two characters can fit in one asterisk. So instead of question mark, if you put asterisk, asterisk can accommodate as many characters as you want. That is one way, or you have to use two question marks here. One question mark will take the place for G, another will take the place for O. Got it? Okay, opposite of like is not like. So where like is returning true, not like will return false, and where like is returning false, not like will return true. Then comes match. Now this match is a regular expression operator. Now what is a regular expression? If you want to find out some pattern, PowerShell regex it is called, for email. So this is the regular expression for validating email address. How to use it? Suppose you have some text like there is sample email at sample.com. Now you want to find out whether this is a valid email address or not. Now whether that email address already exists or not, that is a different story. But looking at this text, does it fit for a valid email address? Looking at the pattern, so you can use match and put that regular expression that you have found here inside double quotes. Let me minimize this. So this is the regular expression, and I am not going to teach you this regular expression because that is a very big topic which is out of scope for our training. This is a completely different branch of discussion. What is the meaning of these characters? For that I can just guide you. You can go through regex 101. There is a website called regex 101. 1 second please. Here you can find out for one single characters, these are common tokens, what is the meaning of dollar symbol, what is the meaning of all these different symbols. So don't worry about that as of now. This is a valid email address. Now if I change this @ to suppose hash, do you think this will be a valid email address? It will return false. Or if I don't use .com, if I just use like this, okay, now that means this regex is not 100% correct. So it should take care of the situation where there is nothing as dot and something in the second half after the @ symbol. It is just taking care of having a @ in the middle of the text. So you need to find a perfect regex for this. Using regex you can identify the patterns, whether it is a valid email address, whether it is a valid URL, whether it is a valid IP address, things like that. Okay, next, opposite of match is not match. Next is contains. Suppose you have multiple values like apple separated by comma, banana, pear and mango. So when you hit enter, it will give you a list of values. Now if you want to find out inside this list, does this list contains grapes, it will return false because this list does not contain grapes. Or does this list contain pear, it will return true. So when you have to find out from a multiple values, from a list of multiple values, whether a particular value is present in that list or not, that time you will use contains. Opposite of contains is not contains. But when you look at by changing the sides, what do I mean by changing the sides? Instead of keeping the list on the left hand side, if you keep the value on the left hand side and list on the right hand side, you can use -in operator. Now it is the same thing, but only the sides are changed. That's why operator is changed. And this in operator was not present in previous versions of PowerShell. Previous to PowerShell version 3, this was not there. This in operator was introduced in PowerShell version 3 onwards. So peer is not available in, or it is available in this list or not. Similarly, grep is not in this list. Opposite of in is not in. We'll discuss about replace with, there are few other operators like split, join and -f. That time we will discuss about replace. So these are all comparison operators which we have seen so far. Now let us see how to use these comparison operators for filtering the output of our commands. Now when I run this command get process, it is showing me all the processes. Now if I don't want any process where the name is SVC host, how do I filter the output? I can pipe it to where object and use a filter script, and this filter script will specify the terms and conditions that I want in the output. For example, as we have discussed, we don't want SVC host. So what is SVC host? It is the name of the process name, right? So how do you filter out where the process name is not equal to SVC host? So $_. Remember, this $_ is going to be with you always in PowerShell, and $_ represents current item in the pipeline. When there are multiple objects flowing from the pipeline, $_ dot process name will give me whether the process name property of the current item is equal to, or we want not equal to, is not equal to SVC host. So this is the filter script. Here we are using the comparison operator. I want all the process names where the process name is not equal to SVC host. Wherever it returns true, that will be included in the output. Where it returns false, it will not be included in the output. So this time, as you see, there is no object which has the process name as SVC host. Got it? Now there is a shortcut way of using this. Since filter script is a positional parameter, you can skip giving filter script, and where object has an alias called where. Still same results, but with a shortcut. Any questions? Okay. Next, how do I specify two criteria? One criteria is the process name is not equal to SVC host, and the other criteria is using and I will specify one more criteria, and $_.cpu is greater than or equal to 500. So you have filtered the results based on the criteria. Two criteria. Use and here it will look for the second second criteria. Now you can give as many criteria as you want. If you use OR, what will happen? Hmm. Yeah, because earlier we did not give this criteria, right? So what we are asking PowerShell to do? We are asking PowerShell to show us all the processes where name is not equal to SVC host. First condition. Second condition. Along with this, we also want to look at the CPU where the CPU is greater than 500. So in the results, you will look at the output. All the CPUs are greater than 500 only. But earlier, it was showing the CPUs which are less than 500 also.
You mean to say that first it was filtered with SVC host and after that it was choosing the 500 in the SVC database, right?
Yes, it is applying two filters here. First filter is process name should not be SVC host, and second filter is CPU should be greater than or equal to 500.
Okay.
But what if I use OR? So either the process name should not be SVC host or the CPU should be greater than 500. One of these conditions is free, if it is matching, then it will show the results. Now this time you will see more number of results because there might be few SVC host processes where the CPU is greater than 500, right? And there might be few CPUs or few processes where the CPU might be less than 500 but the name is not equal to SVC host. So it will look at either this condition should be true or this condition should be true. So this time it is including this SVC host because the CPU is greater than 500, not because the name is SVC host. It is included because even if the name is not SVC, name is SVC host, the CPU is greater than 500. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
Now when you are using multiple properties for comparison, this is okay. You can further shorten it by using question mark instead of where. Question mark, where and where object all are same. This is just a shortcut given. Instead of typing where, you can directly give question mark and hit enter. It will give you the same results. All these examples which we have seen earlier, instead of typing where, you can use question mark. Yeah.
So in this second I think SVC host again.
Yeah, because when you are using OR, that time it will check either this should be true or this should be true. Even if this first one is failing and second one is successful, second condition is successful, it will show the result. Got it? One of these should be true because we are using OR, not AND. Okay, now there is one more shortcut, but you cannot use it with AND. When you are using only one single property like this, let me just show you. Now we are not using two conditions, only one condition, right? So let me put another condition where, just to keep the result short, dot CPU is greater than or equal to 800. Okay, now when you are using only one property for filtering, that time you cannot you can get rid of this question mark, sorry, not question mark, curly brackets, and directly give like this. Let me show you. You can remove this curly brackets, dollar underscore, and use it like this. It is same as this one, shortcut, where CPU is greater than 800. Simple syntax. When you don't have to use multiple properties, you can use this syntax. This is the shortest way of filtering the output. Got it? Okay, so the last point for today, why filter on the left? Now let me tell you, when you are running this command get-process, and let's repeat this one. Now you want to sort it based on the CPU. So what you will do, you will pipe it to sort hyphen object property CPU. Now it is sorted, but how many items this command has to sort? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 items only, right? What if I keep this sorting command before filtering? The output will be same. Do you see any difference in the output? No. The output is same, but this one is better because, let me explain. When you run this command get-process, suppose it is producing 500 objects, right? Assuming that this command is producing 500 objects. In this case, where you are sorting it first before filtering, how many items this sort command has to process? It has to sort 500 objects, and then after sorting you are filtering those items which are greater than 800. The results are same, but this command has to do more job. It has to do more work because anyways you have to filter, but you did not filter it. You have first sorted it, so sort command has to handle 500 objects, and finally you have filtered those 8 objects. But ultimately, when you are concerned with only these 8 objects, why not just filter it first? So after filtering, this command has produced 500 objects. This command has filtered unwanted objects and kept only 8 objects in the pipeline. Sort command has to sort only 8 objects, right? So this command has to do less job. This command has to do less work, and the performance will be better for this command line. Now think about this in an environment, in a larger environment where you have to deal with thousands of objects, and on top of that those are remote objects. So in that case, if you are not filtering first, the performance of your command line will be slower. So always filter as soon as possible, then do rest of the things. First filter and then perform remaining tasks. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just go through this video once again and let me know if you have any questions. So as part of this, we have seen about the comparison operators, how to filter the output, and why you should filter on as left as possible. Stop the recording.